first.
Yeah, that problem the other time.
What did you do? Did you reboot it? Okay. Hopefully that works. I'm not sure how long it will take to reboot, but fast. Yeah. Hopefully that will do the trick.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, well, and hopefully if it works.
You sign this right now. Sign that, please. This is for both roles.
Okay.
Carried away with the signature, sorry.
Thank
You know
you.
what, I don't know. He mentioned it to me over a year ago that he was thinking about it. But it was. No, I'm. Yeah, I don't know why. He said he was going to fix it, but I never heard it.
I was able to get it, so thank you. Yeah.
Pay those taxes.
We're getting close. Dangerously close.
Hey, Craig, do you know what was this? Okay. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Town Board meeting Monday, December 18th, 2023. We do have a presentation tonight. Just real briefly before we get into the presentation, I'd just like to announce that a little over 2 years ago, just at actually I think it was the final month of Darren O'Connor's term as supervisor, we were approached by Alec Mackey of Saratoga Water Services and basically offered Saratoga Water Services for sale to the town of Malta. And with a very gracious offer and with a very wonderful system, by the way, in Saratoga Water. And it began really a two-year-long journey from that point forward, going through entertaining the very thought of owning a water system for our town, as most municipalities do. And as Malta continues to grow, myself and the town board, we certainly saw that there was a need for it in the future. It's a way, as far as I'm concerned and the board is concerned, to ensure basically survival, if you will, in a time when it's not uncommon at all to hear of water woes in various parts of the country or even in our own state. And again, with a population that grows, you're going to have water. We witnessed early on with the creation of the Maltaville Water District earlier in my term. That was all born out of necessity because of water problems in the southern end of Malta. Those problems are not limited just to the southern end of Malta. The northern end of Malta is exactly the same. We have people that basically keep their fingers crossed during dry periods when it comes to whether or not their aquifer or their water well is going to maintain their household and it's going to stay there and stay viable. So to the point, we saw the need to do this, to pursue this venture, to take this water system purchase on and go through our due diligence. We assigned a law firm, and engineering to take part in guiding us through those steps for the past 2 years. And this is a way to ensure that we're not beholden as a town to other entities, but yet we have our own means of being self-sufficient when it comes to water. And once we have it, we can control where we grow and where we do not grow. It will be up to the town to determine where we want to run water lines, where we want to have sprawl, if you will. To me, that's as important, if not more important, than the actual growth portion of a water district. So for all of those reasons, we pursued it for 2 years, as said, and we have come to an agreement and entered into contract with Alec Mackey, Saratoga Water Services, and he is here tonight, Alec. And I'm very hopeful. I've been in touch and in contact with and discussions with the incoming supervisor about this. She is supportive, and I'm quite confident the incoming board will be as supportive to keep this moving forward, because we still do have some work to do. The contract will be signed, but that's not the end of what we need to do in establishing a water district and so on. So for this to be successful, this is going to have to be a joint effort between the outgoing board, or supervisor in this case, and the incoming one. And I'm completely confident that that will happen. So with that, we have Bill Ryan from Tabner Ryan Law Firm. We have Catherine Sarah from CT Mail. And we have Steve here from FAS Auditing. And they'd like to do a presentation, and we would love to have that presentation so that we can begin the educational portion of what this actually will entail for the residents of Malta.
I'll start off. Mark asked me to keep it short because apparently I talk a lot.
No.
So this has been a good solid 13 months at CT Mail, really performing an assessment of this water system. This is the first time where I can actually speak about it publicly. So it has been a lot of work behind the scenes, obviously as part of a contract. This has been privileged and confidential until today. So just for a brief introduction, my name is Catherine Sarah. I'm a project engineer and civil engineer at CT Mail Associates. I'm also a Town of Malta resident, although I'm not a resident with Public Water. So the Saratoga Water Services System serves about 2,600 customers, 2,500 of which are in the Town of Malta. The other 115 are in the Town of Stillwater. So for those of you not familiar with it, it's a private water company. It generally serves this portion of Malta. The furthest north is going to be about the drive-in. The furthest south is going to be the Malta Gardens Mobile Home Park. It stops at the Northway. So folks that are west of the Northway, if they have public water, you're either a Northwood Water Company or you're part of the Clifton Park Water Authority. Global Foundries is served by the County Water Authority. So this is just really servicing the existing residential neighborhoods in Malta proper and the commercial areas in Route 9 and 67. The portions of Stillwater that are in this water company are pretty much extending up to the golf course. So from a public water supply perspective, there's really two ways to provide a public water supply. It's private and municipal. There's really no difference. It's just a lot of it is the rules and regulations and who's in charge. So again, CT Mail was hired in November of 22. We started our assessment of the system. Our first deliverable was in February of 23, and that was an infrastructure condition assessment. One thing you might hear about a lot is infrastructure is old, right? You hear about City of Troy, City of Albany, even Town of Ballston, Saratoga Springs. They have quite old water systems. This system is considered new. The oldest infrastructure was put in around 1980. So as someone who's generally of that age, I like to think that thankfully, finally, something that's my age is considered new. More than half the system is less than 10 years old. So it's an extremely rare time to even have a water system that is considered that new. The source of water is groundwater. There's a well field on Cold Springs Road in the Town of Stillwater. There's a tank there. If you drive by, you might see it by the side of the road. And there's another well field on Knapp Road, kind of on the southern end of Luther Forest Technology Campus. So after the engineers at CT Mail looked at the physical pipes and the tanks and the hydrants and all the pumps, our hydrogeological team took a real deep dive into the well field. And this is really what is the most exciting part of it. It's one of the best aquifers, frankly, in the Northeast. It's called the Colony Deposit, which if my colleague, our lead hydrogeologist, was here, would give you an hour-long lesson on glacial deposits. But basically, it is one of the best supplies of water from not only a quality or a quantity perspective. I know personally, I live in Malta on the other side of the Northway, why my water is soft, full of methane, and tastes awful. This is the opposite. This is essentially the only thing that Mr. Mackey has to do is add disinfection, chlorination, to make sure that the water is potable. So the town would be purchasing a source of water that really is second to none in this area. We also looked at part of that well field evaluation was to actually pump the wells. So this is something that we're confident that we're not purchasing something that's going to require, a lot of maintenance and investment in the next decade. After we kind of, kicked the can on the system, we did review the easements. There are many cases where water lines cross private property. We would want there to be easements. And we also did take a look at what would this system cost if we were to build it today. So there were many, many months of studies that CT Mail did, all to come to this point where we're recommending that, at least telling the Town of Malta that this is a water system that's in very good condition. So moving forward, we're gonna have a lot more public hearings and a lot more questions, but I did want to kind of give the 5-minute overview for the extensive amount of tests and reporting and assessments that CT Mail has done to date. So I will let the lawyer, Bill Ryan, kind of talk to you about the contract and the next steps coming up after ratification of the contract.
Thank you, Catherine. Bill Ryan.
Hi, folks. I'm Bill Ryan.
Bill? Yeah, because for folks that are streaming, so they can hear you talk. Thanks, Bill.
I usually do not need a mic, but in any event, I was the quarterback of the engineering and financial team over the past 14 months. And over the last 10 days, I've been negotiating the terms of the contract with Mr. Mackey's attorney. The bottom line is that the purchase price is $14.6 million, subject to a $300,000 credit that we're going to get by virtue of a water tank. So the total price out of pocket will be $14.3. The agreement is subject to ratification by the new town board that's coming into office on January 1, 2024. And as Catherine just mentioned, the contract execution is really the first step in the process because under New York law, there's two ways you can form a water district or a special district, either Article 12 or 12A under the town law. And in this particular case, it would be under Article 12A, and that means that the town board on its initiative would schedule a public hearing after Catherine prepares the map plan and report and outlining the costs to the typical property owner. The town board would schedule a public hearing and we would review that. And under Article 12A, there's two ways for to bring the process to completion, and that's through either a permissive referendum or you put it to a vote to the resident owners of the proposed water district, and that's what the town is going to do here. So ultimately, the decision will be made by the resident owners. And in anticipation of that vote, after speaking to Cynthia on Friday, we're going to have a lot of public information sessions here and at various locations within the proposed water district to educate the public on what it is about and the costs associated with it. And just from a preliminary perspective, the costs for the proposed district are very close to what you're paying now. So really, that's it. And it's my recommendation that the town board authorize the supervisor to sign the contract so that we can press ahead. That's really it.
Thank you very much, Bill. I appreciate it. Alec, I didn't want to put you on the spot. Did you have anything that you would like to say?
I just thank the board for their time and effort and diligence. I think it's a good idea for the town.
Thank you, and we thank you especially for working with us and for this amount of time to get to this point. We both feel and know the importance of it, you and I know that in conversation, so I want to personally thank you as well. Thank you very much. So, moving into our regular meeting now. Salute to the flag, and silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. First item on the agenda tonight is to accept the meeting of the clerk's minutes from 12/4/23.
So moved?
Second from Craig. Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Thank you very much. Comments from town board members or department heads? I have a few things. First and foremost, we have here a certificate of appreciation. If Paul Peralt would step forward, please. Actually, over there, I think, Paul. Paul has been our town historian for 9 years now. Paul has done an excellent job. I remember very fondly, it seems like yesterday, we went through the old Malta test site and recovered some, what were nearly lost items dating back into the early days of Project Hermes, which we were able to secure for the town. And I know Paul was just a little bit excited when we went into the map room and found those things not destroyed. They survived all these years. And I know, having been to plaque dedications and so on over the past 2 years, I know that Paul has been very dedicated to the town when it comes to our historical value. So with that, we have a certificate of appreciation for you, Paul, that is hereby presented to Paul Peralt in recognition of 9 years of dedicated service as town historian to the town of Malta. We thank you for your wisdom and commitment to the excellence in the preservation of our town history that will be remembered for many years to come. We wish you good health and happiness in your retirement from the town of Malta on this day, 18th day of September, 2023, and it's signed by each of myself. What did I say? September. Did I write that? Did I say September? Yeah. Well, I meant December. I wanted to see if you were paying attention. But anyway, thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, Mark.
This is well deserved.
Thank you.
So, over here, Kathy. Thank you. You don't want to say a few words?
No.
Come on, Paul.
Hey, Mark, if,
Will. Just a reminder that it's very important for a community to understand where it came from in order to understand where it's going and to chart the proper direction for the town. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and it's important for us to remember that. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Mark, can I just add my own note of thanks to Paul? Paul, I've seen in my many, many years of being around local government and part of it, a lot of folks in office, and the way you've conducted yourself as a town official is really, exemplary of the highest ideals of service to your community. And you and your family should take great pride in the contribution you made to the town.
Thank you, Paul. And I didn't forget, or did I give up on the Mendeley bell at the church? Still trying to get that. It's been quiet on the other end, but Paul and I were very interested to see what we could get from the church around the corner when they started auctioning things off or selling things. They didn't auction, they sold them. I was able to secure the front pew, which is in the basement of the courthouse, so we do have that. And we also looked for stained glass windows, but they decided to keep them in for now. So make sure whoever replaces you stays on top of that. Thank you again, Paul. The other thing I'd like to mention is, as probably most everyone knows, this is my final board meeting, and I'm very happy that we could announce this big undertaking on behalf of the town on my last meeting. I think it represents at least one of the things that I was able to do in the past 2 years and get behind and push, and I'm confident the incoming board will do the same thing to keep it moving, as far as any other unfinished business goes as well. But myself and my colleagues to the left and the right of me for the past 2 years, I want to thank them for their support in the projects that we did actually push across the finish line. Maltaville Water District, purchase of Mangino's. We did get some things done. We got green light coming in town. We got Sheriff's Department contract. to protect the town. We have got some things accomplished, and that, it takes the entire board up here to make those things happen, and those are just a few of them. So, thank you for the last 2 years and for your help.
Mark, you missed an important one that's on our agenda tonight with the preservation of the Cornwaith property.
You know what?
And
I knew
that's
I
near
was
to your
forgetting
heart,
one
so-
too. I know. Well, I would have remembered it when I got to it, but yes, that's also a little bit important too. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. So, thank you, and thank you to everyone else and your support for the past 2 years. And I wish the best of luck to the incoming board. Their success means that the town will be successful. So. Thank you. Any board members have anything to say about anything? Department heads. Roger, you have anything? Okay. Julia? Okay, that's good. Anyone at all? All right. Then we'll go to town residents. No, it's a race to the finish line. Roger, you gonna talk or are you leaving?
My agenda doesn't match yours.
Nice fake, Roger. Yes, Cynthia.
So I am Cynthia Young, the aforementioned incoming supervisor. And I just want to say that on Friday, I spent a couple of hours with Catherine and Bill and Steve and Mark and, was read in on the purchase of the water system. And I wholeheartedly support this decision on the town board. I want to commend Mark for pushing it forward. The Mackey family has, by all, explanations, given us a very fair deal for what appears to be a well-maintained system. And I think it's important that we understand that, if you control the water, you pretty much control development. And I want to thank you very much for making this offer to us. And thank you to the board for moving this forward. So, and also, Mark, thank you for your 2 years of service.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Look forward to keeping you involved.
Thank you. Kathy Eitzman.
All right. Couple hats. First, I want to thank Paul. I worked with Paul at the Historic Preservation Review Commission. I am so impressed with the knowledge that Paul has and his continued enthusiasm to research homes and the history for people that are involved. Your presentations, Paul, are absolutely fantastic, and I hope they all get on YouTube so they will live forever. Also, Nellie Johnson, longtime member of the town of Malta, on this Thursday, the 21st, will turn 103.
Wow.
I stopped over to see her. She made sugar cookies and tea, and she sent home the best fresh strawberry pie that Murray and I have ever had. So I will make her address available if you'd like to send her a card. I know she would love that. Malta seniors are alive and doing well and celebrating Christmas on Wednesday with 160 members at our annual party. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Did I say 15th? No, I said 18th. This one says 15th here, but it has 18th here. It's not the,
Saying we got the wrong agenda.
oh. Wait, a minute, I have another one here. I have two. I have two agendas up here. We have to start over?
There's one resolution that was
Oh, 7?
for the heavy equipment operator.
Yep, I see it. I've got one, Jen, right here. Yep, I see it on this one. Thanks, Ro. You'd make a great secretary, you know that?
Thank you.
Okay, so no other comments from residents, so we'll go right into board action for this evening. First on the agenda is to approve the contract for repurchase of the assets of Saratoga Water Services Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I?
Opposed?
I was trying to raise my hand to ask for discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'll go backwards. Any discussion, John?
Yes, please. The contract itself, I can't turn my lawyer off at this point in my life. And so, when I'm presented with a document like this, I do these kind of things, as Mr. Ryan knows. And so I tried to read this as quickly as I could. And there's things in here I have questions about. And I'm not trying to convince you that I'm particularly virtuous, because you've probably figured out otherwise, but I feel, some responsibility when I look at a document like this and an issue is presented to me that's of concern, that I have questions about, as an elected official, to ask those questions. And there, I barely was able to skim my eyes over this document before this meeting. And so to vote on something where I have questions about is, I don't believe, fulfilling my responsibility as an elected official, even though I support the project. So, the options are, sounds like the votes are there, and so be it. Or, we have time to get into some specifics about the terms of the contract. There's things in here, as Mr. Ryan can appreciate, that are consequential. I, as a lawyer, I think I've got 2 asset purchase transactions going right now. I started one today. So when I look at one of these, I think about what it is, and I have questions. And I understand that it's subject to ratification by the next board, but I feel like I would be forfeiting my duties to just vote no when I have questions. So those are my thoughts.
Could I also say something, Mark?
Sure.
We received the contract later this afternoon. I have started going through it. I am not a lawyer. I come from an engineering background, but I have talked to our town lawyer, and he has been through it, and he assured me that he's happy. And I also trust Bill Ryan and his staff and the engineering, and Steve also have really done an incredible amount of homework on this. So at this point, I can support that contract as I have seen it, not being a lawyer. But thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Craig. I'm glad you mentioned that. John, I respect your concern. And yes, it's the lawyer in you. I understand that. But I also know that we've put much trust in Bill Ryan and his firm, as well as the other experts, whether they be engineer or otherwise, throughout this entire process. We've relied very heavily on the data that they have assembled, the reports that they've put together. As Craig pointed out, Steve has been in contact with Bill Ryan. Steve, of course, representing us as the town's attorney. There's nothing new that's been added or subtracted to the contract, and I'm sure that if that were the case, or if that were otherwise, Steve Gottman would have let us know that. There comes a point in time where, I'll be honest, there's a lot of things, and even if I looked through and read every single word of the 33 pages, I don't know that I'd understand half of it, because I'm not an attorney. That's why we pay folks that are attorneys, and we put trust in them. And that's what we've done from the beginning, and I see no reason to do otherwise at this point. So therefore, I'm not changing my mind in any way, shape, or form because I didn't maybe read all 33 pages, but that's just me. Any further discussion?
No, they've, in executive session, they've answered every question we had in the meetings and presented us everything they've had, no changes, no surprises. I'm in full favor of this contract.
Yeah, we knew this was coming. I set time aside this afternoon, we looked at the contract and reviewed it, and I'm comfortable moving forward.
No surprises. If there's
Well-
no, I'm sorry.
Again, I understand the board's prerogative to, to proceed, but there's 33 pages here, and to say that we're familiar with all these details is just not correct.
Say that.
And there are some details of consequence. I appreciate the next town board can get into them and choose not to ratify this, but I just feel, when I got this afternoon, I had the rest of my workday that I had to attend to and could barely get my eyes to glance at the document. I'm not faulting anybody. The alternative is to call a special board meeting when we've had time to ask questions about a 33-page document and get the questions answered and vote at that point in time.
Any further discussion?
Your attorney is present if there are specific questions that you wanted to discuss, if you felt that they needed to be done in confidence, because that would not be appropriate to discuss in public. You could move to another executive session to review them, if that would satisfy any of your concerns, Mr. Hartzell. Otherwise, Mr. Ryan is here, and I just wanted to make the board aware of, another opportunity for further review with their attorney.
Any further discussion on this from the board? We'll proceed to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is to approve a conservation easement. This is the one I almost forgot somehow, Tim.
It's your
Near and
favorite
dear.
thing.
I remember this back in my early days on the Open Space Committee. This was one of my babies. Miles Cornthwaite, conservation easement. Glad to be saying that this is going to be finally done tonight. So a motion, please, on that.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. Fire contracts for Malta Ridge and Round Lake Coves to set the date for public hearing, which would be January 8th of 2024.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is to award a bid to the Town Hall entranceway repair project. That is with the fob system that we would like to put in for security measures.
That was going to be my question.
Yep,
I'll
that's
move the
for,
resolution.
to go to fob, so that's what that is.
That's great to see. I know that'll be good for our
That
our
is-
staff
it is
safety.
needed,
So
yes.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to award the contract for the town court security guard.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Also carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is to accept the fire inspection software proposal.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And is carried. Thank you. We were interrupted another meeting, I guess. Next on the agenda is to confirm highway HEO appointment.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is budget transfers 2023.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Julia, do you have anything to add?
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you, Julie. You've been doing a great job. So we did vote on that, correct?
Nope.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Budget transfers 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. For possible action on January 8th, 2024, at the town board meeting, 2024 Global Foundries Inspection Services Contract. Ro, did you say we were waiting paperwork on that from Global? Okay. And also 2024 Town Engineering Services, be discussing that. 2024 GAR Service Agreement. 2024 Highway Superintendent 284 Agreement. That is in.
Okay.
And the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Ballston for snow and ice removal. We have that as well, correct? It's okay. And then also, of course, is the move to the 2024 organizational meeting and Town of Malta Board of Health meeting we'll be having. Yes.
Approval tonight of the contract for the water supply assets. Suggest that, although maybe not to discuss tonight because you had the discussion, but I would anticipate a potential ratification resolution being on the agenda.
Okay.
There are times.
We can add that as number 7 then? Or
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we would make that 5A. I'll talk with Cynthia about that. Thank you, Steve. Okay, at this time, any other comments?
Yes. I'd like to thank you, Mark, for your service. I like to see your right-hand man, one of your right-hand men.
You're closest to my right.
Yes, I want to punch her. But I thank you. Since your tenure up here, you've had the best interests of the town. You know, financially, on a budget, the town is sitting very good. We're making big progress towards the betterment of the town. And so I do thank you. And everything that we've done is to move this town forward and progress on a better town for safety, for infrastructure, financially, and I really do thank you.
Thank you very much, Al.
And I'll echo those sentiments, Mark. You know, what I saw from you as a leader over these last 2 years has been fantastic, has been inspiring, and I've greatly appreciated the work that you've put in, the hours that you've put in, the way you've dedicated yourself to this community, and I feel honored and humbled that I've been able to serve with you, and greatly appreciate all that you've done for the town.
Thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate that.
And
It's
Mark,
been an honor.
You know my thoughts. You have accomplished a lot. There's no doubt about that. I've been here for, I think you were the 4th supervisor,
Yeah, you've been here for a while, haven't you?
and you have stood up. You didn't put yourself first. You put the town first. And I think I had you pretty good from the start, and I want to
Maybe a
thank
little
you.
bit.
You did well.
Thank you, Craig. I
thank
appreciate
you.
the kind words. Thank you, everyone. I
Hey,
appreciate it.
Last but not least, Mark, thank you for your service to the town. I know, it comes at an expense to your family and yourself personally. It's not something you turn off when you go home at night. Either mentally or, people believing that you should be responsive. Fewer and fewer people are willing to step up and serve their communities. And, the community owes you a debt of gratitude for your willingness to do so. So best wishes to you and your family as you conclude your service to the town.
Thank you very much, John.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Oh.
I got my right hand, Tim Dunn. Thank you for your stability sitting up
Oh,
on
yes.
this board for many years. Common sense approach to things. I've learned a lot from you sitting next to you.
Yeah, those are
I'm
mainly
always
curse
whispering
words,
you,
though.
and besides talking softball all the time and where our daughters are playing. But I do thank you, Tim, very much.
Thanks, Al.
Yes, absolutely, Tim. You've been supportive of me, and as you well know, as anyone will know, the town board supervisor's only as good as the board members behind that individual. And if they're not supportive, then it will show. And you have been supportive, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have anybody out there who wants to talk? Anyone at all? Looks like no. So with that,
Move we adjourn.
Second.
we are adjourned, folks. Thank you, everyone.